Hey everyone, welcome to the Theory of Conspiracy, and today we have a special guest, a fellow we grew up with, great dude. He is, the reason we have him on is because he looks at the world through a lens of like the scientific notions and theories and stuff like that, and he also has a spiritual component to him. His name is Ed Partita. He's the man with the plan, and he's going to be talking about food, processed food, and all of those other health issues that come from that. So, Rolando, Ed, how are you doing?
Good.
Good, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
And
always, man.
one thing I want to touch on. So Ed's a teacher of science. He's a teacher of Tai Chi. He is the Buckaroo Banzai of a group. He's a musician. He plays the upright bass. He's in some bands there. So, and he's always in a suit. So that's why I call him the Buckaroo Banzai. Where
He's a very dapper man for sure.
Doing science in his garage, blowing things up, then practicing with the band, and then bringing it all in with some spiritual components there. So
yeah,
Ed,
he's very holistic.
yes. So Ed, welcome to the Theory of Conspiracy.
Thank you for having me, Rolando. Yeah, got a good thing going over here.
Yeah, man. Hey, what's your favorite episode so far, buddy? That you listened to?
I really enjoyed your introduction to the Titanium theory. Conspiracy. There's
nice.
a lot going on there. You guys have touched the tip.
Oh yeah, that's something we wanna go deeper. We were only going tip deep because that's all we could take at that time. But
well, actually, we've actually discussed. We'll run it by you. Our tagline is the Theory of Conspiracy. We go deep.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
I like
deep.
It. Get in there. There's so much. It gets scary.
Yeah, I've gotten deeper into it since that episode, but it's something where I first I was getting into the World's Fair stuff, and then you were the one who dubbed it to me like, "Oh, you're talking about Tartaria." I'm like, "Tartaria? I've never even knew of that connection." Then I went down that rabbit hole. I was like, "Holy crap!" But yeah, we're definitely going to be revisiting that soon. I'm totally into that topic there, but you got me into that. Mike always cites me as being the one who, hey, you told me about this, you told me about that, but Tartaria, I could say you were there first.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an honor because you and Mike have this thing going on, and I'll beat you to that one.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into some stuff today, Ed.
Let's get in there deep.
Yeah. What do you want to tell us about? What are some things that you're passionate about? You're going to educate us today on.
Well, you brought it up earlier, guys. That's one of the main reasons you brought me in. You want to talk about our diets. What's going on out there, what are people putting in their bodies. We all know we're all getting more aware of that happening lately, but
if I can interject, if I can just interject, you were really at the forefront of that when 20 years ago you were talking about this stuff before it became like more mainstream, and people would look at you like you're crazy about it, and everything that you touched upon is actually becoming more and more what people are believing and what science is actually proving to be true.
I was studying, that was back in, right after high school and college, I was studying nutrition and chemistry. And also at the same time, I was studying under the Taoist monk, like Wang Shu Liao. And I really wanted to know how our body makes qi or energy. I started looking at our calories, what we consume, and a lot of the ingredients, and I started peeling layer after layer of hidden knowledge and books out there, studies. Mostly you got to read studies and the results, because common people don't actually take the time to read any studies or findings. Or you look at the product you buy at the store, there's paragraphs of ingredients when it's just supposed to be macaroni. If you look at those ingredients, the actual chemicals, I was like, do you really want this in your body, and what are they doing? It's all research I started doing way before Google was a thing. So you actually had to go to the library and pull out recorded scientific research done by like the Mayo Clinic or Harvard. And nobody wants to do it. They just want to go right away and satisfy that calorie need in the body.
So what through those readings in the library and stuff like that, and searching through the Dewey Decimal System and whatnot, and find scientific and college based studies. Like, what did you find? Like, what are some of the chemicals that people were putting in their body at the time or now?
I found out, and it scared the bejesus out of me, and I automatically right away cut it off. And that put, at the time when I did that, it put me in a very strict diet. I had to say goodbye to a lot of great things I used to enjoy. But once I knew it was almost everywhere, I had to cut a lot of my diet out. Hydrogenated oils. It was the first ingredient I was trying to warn all you guys about, and it was like, oh, you're a hydrogenated beer, so you're regurgitating your grease. Like, no, dude, that is some messed up shit. It sticks to walls, your colon, your arteries, it fogs your brain, and you guys are like, it's everywhere. All the cookies, it's a preservative. It's insane. But it was made intentionally back in World War One. There's so much history. World War Two. There's so much history behind it, and
Get into it, yeah. Let's hear it.
well, hydrogenated oils is basically margarine. Margarine was done in World War II to substitute butter where it could last longer in battlefields for the soldiers. It also would have a longer shelf life, like I said, and it also was considered cholesterol-free. And people, medicine was starting to understand the problems where high cholesterol can clog arteries because people were dying very young with heart attacks. So they were trying to look for a substitute that would last longer and have no cholesterol. What they did, they started adding extra amounts of hydrogen to regular vegetable oil, solidifying it and flavoring it, setting it out in the field. A lot of the food industry saw the great advantage of this new product after World War II. And they started using it to extend their food products on the shelves when they needed oil for all cereals, all prepared products. They've used it to substitute a lot of milks, cheeses. Cookies would last longer on the shelves. It just goes on and on, like prepared rice. It was everywhere, but it was only making things worse at the end, clogging everybody's arteries and brains and their circulations. So people were developing more ADHD, autism. There were Asperger's. It was partially because this hydrogenated oil is not only clogging your arteries, but it's also clogging your neurons. It just stays in the body. One time Rolando told me about margarine. That's when he started seeing, like, this isn't a good thing. He said he read somewhere that you put margarine outside, not even an ant would get close to it, because they know it's not something natural to eat. But people did not know it was hydrogenated oils at the time. Now we call them trans fats. And then people started pushing for a change for people who started learning about that. Even a guy sued Oreo company because of high amount of hydrogenated oils in their products. And companies have lately been taking it off. Maybe off the ingredients list, could still be there. We don't really know. We're consuming it all the time. Certain third world countries were substituting milk with it. They were adding just hydrogenated oil with water and calling it milk, adding a few vitamins and feeding it to the kids. Government's milk.
And so with yourself, Ed, you're still a vegan to this day as far as some of your health practices.
Vegetarian.
Vegetarian? Okay.
Yeah, vegan. Vegan's too extreme. I'm not an extremist.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. And fasting, do you still partake in fasting? And what do you recommend in terms of that as far as your regimen goes?
Yeah, let's hear about that a little bit, and then maybe we can get into like the conspiracy portion of it.
Yes,
why why you think that they do this
So
to
fasting will lead into that. Well, that was through the strict disciplinary training to be a Taoist disciple and Tai Chi apprentice with Master Wai Su Lao. Became vegetarian in order to remove toxins and waste out of my body and mind. And of course, we clog the neurological system. You want to have a clean system in order to have a new perception, a more higher spiritual perception, getting out of the cycle of Earth, exchanging energy from each other by eating each other. So the wise men in the past in the East have always fasted 40 days, 40 nights before they embark a spiritual demand or something they had to do. whether it was a monk in India, a monk in China, or Jesus Christ, Buddha, they all had to go through some fasting. And in order to achieve this new awareness of or enlightenment of life, I had to fast every year. I think I was done it for 7 years, 7 days. Coincidentally falls with the Easter time, spring cleaning. And I would fast every month, between months, 3 days, to clean out all the adulterated oils, fluoride. We'll talk about fluoride and its conspiracy. Fast out fluoride. I was already telling people, don't use your fluoride toothpaste, don't drink the water, it's full of fluoride. And it's like, fluoride is good, it's for a teeth. Fasting nowadays has become more popular with more user-friendly. They call it intermittent fasting. Point is just to give your body some time to break to digest all the impounded toxic chemicals. When you buy processed food, you're eating paragraphs of chemicals in your body. They need to come out some way. So when you fast, your body, instead of digesting the food you just ate 4 hours ago, it works on what you have in there, and it helps you push it out. So a clean body, cleanliness is next to godliness, they say. So clean mind, clean body, clean spirit.
What was the longest you ever fasted, and how did you feel when you were going through
For
it?
7 days. After the third day, you start feeling better. But the more bad you feel in between meals, the more toxins you have. The more you're addicted to whatever chemical is your favorite in your potato chips or your favorite pre-mixed bottled drink or whatever.
Or fast food or whatever.
Fast food, yes. They have that thing. Your body gets used to it. It's like, it's a withdrawal. I need to eat. Human biologically are made to eat once a day. And it's one of the best things for your body. You can eat, doesn't matter the amount you eat. If you do it once a day, you give your body enough time to digest all of that properly and have nutrients. Before you add some more, and then you have to excrete everything out, to digest the new one. And you never got a chance to get rid of all that. So you're pounding and pounding and pounding. So intermittent fasting, they ask people to at least have 12 hours. That's the minimum, and you will feel great. So if you have your last meal at 6 p.m., you can have it the next day at 6 a.m. You slept most of it. It's a tiny hack, hacking the system. That's the one I recommend for everybody. Everybody can do that. Let's say you have your last meal at 10 p.m. Wait till the next day to have your breakfast at 10 a.m. That's 12 hours right there. If you're strong enough to do it from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., whoa, that's Ramadan. You got some spiritual stuff going on, and it fortifies your body, mind, and spirit.
All right, let's get into some of the weirder aspects of this.
Yes.
So this idea that we're intentionally perhaps poisoning ourselves or poisoning the youth with the amount of preservatives in our food, or just how much of the food now is just not natural.
Sugars. Like I mean, even sugar cane has been processed into.
Yes, when you take anything that comes from nature and you process it and reduce it down to a white powder, you don't want to consume that. No, it's it goes through a lot of processes and chemicals, and it's not natural anymore. You're consuming a high dose of it, concentration, cocaine, sugar, flour. They come from natural sources. If you chew cocaine leaf, that's how nature intended it. I don't chew cocaine leaves, but they're up there in the mountain and they serve a purpose. But when you grind it down to a fine powder in such a high potent amount, it's not good. Sugar too. I mean, you can chew sugar cane all day long. Animals do it all the time, and they feel great. They don't end up with diabetes. But when you take all of those sugar canes, thousands, so you can have a little pack of sugar in your coffee. You're drinking all of those sugar canes. It's highly concentrated. That's everything in moderation. Those crystals are not moderation, not the way nature intended it. That's how chemists did it in the lab to get money and to feed into our addictions.
So let's get into the rabbit hole with that. Do we think that this intentional sort of poisoning that's causing cancers, causing all these health ailments later on in life, is it something due to corporations taking a cheap route out? Is it money driven? Is it some sort of intentional poisoning or population control? Like what do we think?
There's so many levels to this thing. We can say we can give excuses by saying, "Oh, we're just evolving. We're learning all these new things. Our diets have changed through time. We're beginning to become more aware of this." Well, that's great. That's great. But there's so many levels to this. Yes, corporations, for sure. Corporations want to make an efficient product that is so cheap to them, where they can feed the masses and make money off the masses and keep the business going. You can blame capitalism. It keeps going up and up in levels. Our capitalist-based country, saying that the corporations own the country, where they're slaves because we consume. We're the consumers. We need their products, so they're going to have all these additives. They don't care how sick are they making. They know we're going to get addicted. We're going to come back and buy more of their product. They don't care about our lives. They just want us as batteries to feed into their capitalist needs driven society here. So you can call that a conspiracy if you want, but it is someone taking advantage of the masses, whether they get sick, die of some kind of diabetes or heart attack, which is happening. They just,
and then the natural, leap that I make from that is like that gets into the pharmaceuticals and like how that has changed over the years, because there are herbs and if you go into Eastern medicines, and this isn't me just spouting bullshit, if you go into Eastern medicines or you go even into some Western remedies that, on the frontier, those have been kind of squashed and kind of, they're not taken away, but they're kind of like laughed out of running for, health purposes as well. You know what I mean? And so like salt, for instance, like if you have like sea salt or like kosher salt that hasn't been processed or whatever, that's a really good remedy to cure, an infected wound, you know what I mean? Or, something along those lines. But like, if you tell someone, we even have a phrase here and it's probably throughout the whole world, is like, oh, that's just salt in the wound, and it has a negative connotation. But actually, it's actually a really positive thing that you could do if you're in a bind to help, heal yourself, and just stuff like that. So, like, do we think, and this is the question I'm posing, like, it's hand in hand with the pharmaceuticals and like, what you're putting in your body? Like, okay, like you have the food industry that's creating these issues. Now, hey, here's this medicine that's going to help you with your heart. And it's petroleum based and stuff like that, and we get into the Rockefeller wormhole and or rabbit hole, stuff like that. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, are those connected, or the whole capitalism is hand in hand connected, or like, what are your thoughts?
They're all different. We're ruled this country, and most capitalist countries are ruled by the corporation. At the end of the day, money moves things. Money, we call it lobbyists now. They can lobby and donate to the people in Congress over there making the laws that can benefit them, and so they can keep us as consumers consuming our lives and our money, so we can go and work and enslave ourselves every day. We are their slaves. We are their pawns. It's one of the levels of the Matrix. That movie, we can call it Matrix, but it is a reality we live in, and a lot of people are just unaware of it. Some are. A lot of people are more of it. But before, you go back to the 90s, 80s, it were just little controlled Sims, like that video game, and it was controlling us, the corporations, at the end of the day.
So, I mean, so you mentioned the Matrix. Do you think like it's literal or like an allegory for
it's a word. It's a word. You can use it to, you can describe that. It's a matrix of capitalism, capitalist matrix of money and how it works and how it functions and how it uses as consumers and how it grows and benefits and takes over. You can call it a matrix. Yes. But the matrix also be applied in the internet. Maybe the internet is a tool of the capitalist matrix. Yeah, a lot of advertisements in there, so they want you to be online and all this. It is a capitalist matrix. It's one of the realities, but then you got to get higher eventually. Levels. There's something higher over capitalism controlling us at the end of the day. So you can say capitalism is our simulation that to function society, but capitalism came from a simulation by a higher consciousness, and it just keeps dribbling down and down to simulation to simulation to simulation.
So there was an interesting idea being hit on about the drugs, or I'm sorry, the foods that we're taking that are leading to health problems, which could be going hand in hand to benefit the pharmaceutical company. It reminds me of the prison industrial complex. So an idea there is that most people who are serving time in our jails are through drug laws, which a lot of people say is unfair, but it's creating this almost slavery system where it's big money prisons that can fill the prison system with minorities, the youth, and things like that, because these unfair tax laws are able to benefit itself by sustaining its growth. It reminds me of what you're saying with this. So in one hand, we're poisoning our youth with these toxins that we're putting in their body. Long term, we're now leading to have to now sustain ourselves with taking more toxins, taking prescription pills to deal with the ailments in your heart and in your body, which is very negative. It's a very, poisonous, toxic system that we're creating here, where if we're not intentionally trying to kill people, the fact that we're creating this vicious cycle, I mean, that's pretty scary.
Yes, thing is, are we doing it intentionally or unintentionally? That's what I say. When it's unintentionally, then something bigger is at play at this.
Do you think it could be both, maybe?
Yeah. Tell you, levels, a system upon a system upon a system upon a system that triggers down from higher up down to us, and we end up being the little battery slaves of the system, bottom from the apex. Something is on top. Call it God, call it aliens. Something all the way on the top, making sure this runs all the way, and we're just enslaved at the end of the day. So fasting is trying to get out of that cycle, get out of that matrix. Remove that veil of fakeness in front of you. Fasting will, all those toxins that are making you part of that enslaving system of that reality, and you switch to a biological based diet. How did, not necessarily primitive people, but people of the earth, and go in touch with her. You don't have to be vegetarian strictly. There's a way to eat your meat. Not, that's another industry right there, another conglomerate, the meat industry, and it's also poisoning us, and it's poisoning Earth, and only taking our money, keeping us addicted to meat. But if you go back and how the Mesoamerican, the natives, how did they live after that? And they were in nature, in peace with that. Our ancestors lived sometimes many decades without all these illnesses we have now. Well, there is a way. So there's a singularity, you can call it a singularity that changed everything and put us in this situation where we're now slaves to a monetary system that's speeding up of us.
What would you coin that singularity in your opinion? What do you think it would be?
That's a good question. Experts say the singularity event is when AI snaps into consciousness, mentioning itself, right? And that could be in a minute. But that could be singularity, as in we start another simulation ourselves. But we're still barely dealing with the simulation we started, call our financial system, capitalism. Communism, that's another simulation over there that keeps failing. And capitalism just has us also enslaved as guinea pigs for conglomerate money-making companies. So if you go into AI, it's going to start trying to do its own thing and its own system of how to handle each other, and that's a whole other mess. Singularity points has to be every time we develop a new system that impacts our way of living.
So you read Ray Kurzweil, right? I think you probably at least touched
upon
on the stuff. So, I mean, I know that we're getting off track here, but we like to do that here over at the Theory of Conspiracy. Like the singularity. Do you think that the biological and artificial, technological, exponential growth of technology has caught up to biologics yet, or are we really close? Or where has the singularity, in your opinion, happened? Are we dealing with that right now? And I mean, I'm going to get into simulation theory here, but like when I say simulation theory, like I'm not saying that you aren't waking up every morning and going to work and doing your job and you don't have your family. Those things exist, but what I'm saying is that like through a holistic or a artificial intelligence or a combination of the two, it really kind of, are we dealing with that right now and the ramifications of that? Are we in a simulation? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, and you keep on saying hack the system and stuff like that.
You can call it, a biological based simulation. That is without a doubt. Right? Mathematically, everything is a simulation, but we are living in a biological simulation composed of amino acids that end up developing into tiny little cells, and a digital one, you can call it binary and pixels, but we're a biological based simulation, and our matrix is nature, right? You can call it that. There's the spiritual matrix, higher above that, call it collective consciousness. But yes, it's an infinite, mathematically, those give you infinite simulation on simulation, and chances are we're in one of those. And it's a biological based simulation.
That's interesting. I never heard that biological based simulation, but
yes,
let's get back onto foods and stuff like that.
It's biological, yes. And then there's virtual simulations, right, composed of ones and zeros. And now we're gonna probably move on to quantum simulations with the new quantum computers. So that'll be another singularity.
One thing I wanted to hit on back at this idea of intentional poisoning or just ignorance. Some things I want to talk.
That's intriguing. I know. What is it?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to hit on a few things in history where we intentionally poisoned ourselves. It's looked at as we were just dumb. So some things that we've talked about, and let's talk about arsenic and let's talk about mercury. So for one, there was a time in the Victorian era where women wanted these beautiful emerald green dresses made, and the dyes were being used with arsenic in there, and these women were maybe non-intentionally were poisoning themselves. And it was a sort of fad that lasted for quite some time that we look at now as, oh, we just didn't know. But then it's like, why did we keep doing it for decades? The other thing I want to hit on was the Mad Hatters. These hats that if you look at old timey pictures, I mean, you're a guy who wears a suit, but there was a time where all these people were wearing hats, and these hats were being treated with mercury, which coined the term "mad as a hatter," which maybe you know about from Batman, but it was because people were legit going mad, having this mercury chemical seeping into their brain there. And then the last thing I want to touch on here, I'm throwing all these wild ideas to you. This is going to be gross, guys. So turn away now. I'm warned if you're hearing me, because I like to go wild. Mercury penis syringes. Oh yes. So one thing we've learned about pirates with so like Blackbeard is there was for whatever reason, this is what people thought at this time. There was a syringe. These maybe not just pirates, but it was especially pirates who were getting syphilis. I guess the syphilis was that bad that they were like, hey, I need some relief. And they were actually injecting, this is where it gets gross, turn away now, injecting mercury into their urethra using these syringes there.
Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they, you're basically picking your poison there. Mercury in your penis is not it's going to lead to some damage there, as we know with mercury there. But these are these things in history: mercury in your penis or in your dresses or lead on your hats there, which we look at now like these people were crazy, and they must have not known. Here we are in 2023. We always think we're at the apex of civilization. Are we going to look at decades from now, look back at our civilization, say, hey man, these guys were crazy. They were microwaving foods, feeding hot dog microwave things to children, chicken nuggets to this, and causing all sorts of issues there? Or what do you think? I know I threw out a lot at you, but I like to those people out.
That's the ultimate goal. That's what I like to believe in humanity. That's the positive look. All right, let's look at the positives and negatives, right? It's the duality we accept in, right? Let's look at the bright side first. hopefully we're evolving, we're getting there, right? They said we had some dark ages, middle ages where we were really bad. So we have our ups and downs, and hopefully, optimistically, we're going up again. And someday we're gonna look back and be like, man, we were savages, right? I wish we wish we knew then what we know now, right? You can excuse that, be positive, and hopefully our consciousness, collective consciousness, takes us that direction. That's the reality we want to manifest for ourselves. But however, there's always two sides to every coin, every outcome, 0 and 1, right? The negative side is that I'm gonna get spiritual. I'm sorry, evil does exist, and it's like a virus that corrupts. And unintentionally, I'm sure we get excited as humans with new discoveries, and we want to use them. Oh shit! Now we call it alchemy, and these new crazy metals are for many things, such as mercury and gold and all of these. Let's try naively see how it cures all of it. Mercury has antibacterial properties, so pirates would use it to kill the bacteria in their syphilis in the tip of their dicks. Painful and poisoning, but luckily they weren't doing that every day, right? It's when they would get syphilis once a month, it was still poisoning, but if they were injecting mercury into their penis every day, it wouldn't last more than a week. But
really quick,
somebody
with that pirate, when pirates are like, "Pirates, life is a life for me." Do you think they gladly sing that song after their monthly penis injections, or they're like, "I'm going to sit this one out, guys. You're not going to get any harmony from me on this song this time."
Yeah, the pirate's life is not for me. Thank you. I do not want that.
Not with the urethra syringe.
Yes,
I digress, Ed. Back to you.
And that also, let's call it hydrogenated oil, call it, again, fluoride. There's slight discoveries, scientists get excited, and then they push for it in Congress, and everybody gets like, oh, this is a new thing. Somebody is going to benefit from it, it's going to make money, and eventually we do learn, scientists study more on these new products, and they find out the complete opposite. We need to get rid of them. But now somebody's making money off of them. So here comes the conspiracy, hush money. Let's do our own studies. Let's lie to the public. Keep consuming it. They're going to get addicted. We got a new money-making machine for our corporation to grow. So eventually, that's the dark side. Someone will benefit from manipulating the truth or hiding the truth. So we make a new discovery. We get excited. We want to use it. This whole COVID thing. My fear of the vaccine was that it's a brand new thing. We get all excited. It's going to happen with AI. And then we don't know 10, 15 years from now, we're going to look back and say that, well, that was a good thing or that was a bad thing. We shouldn't inject mercury in our penises then. We shouldn't be injecting this new COVID thing like that. That was my fear. But if we're living in this matrix and we're in the social contract and we have to function according to the rules we have set out in the simulation, at the end of the day, it's going to be hard to escape it. How plugged in you're into the society, you're going to have to take that COVID shot. You'll find a way, and you'll take it. There's a lot of good science behind it. Great, but let's wait 15 years, then see if it was safe. When polio was out, we needed to go in and get something fast, and we came up with this vaccine and a cure. Also with penicillin, great. But now penicillin and antibiotics, we're in a big battle against all microbes. They keep getting stronger, and we have to come up with new antibiotics. So it's new discovery. We get excited. It helps, but then there's also a dark side to it. So there's pharmaceutical companies making tons of money fighting this war against microbes who keep getting more resilient. And then at the end of the day, we're their guinea pigs. So I mean, try to live like the natives used to do, very in touch with nature. They didn't have to worry about all of these consuming your money and paying your taxes and buying the meat that is full of hormones that's going to make you grow tits. So I just completely unplugged from that system, staying away from that processed food eating system way back in like early 2000s. And people were like, what? You're insane. Like you guys and others beginning to see more of it and understand that bigger, crazier world out there, and do your best being in it, but not part of it. Observe, analyze the data, make your own decisions. Don't let the media or somebody else tell you otherwise. You do your own research. Most people are too lazy to do their own research, so let's just take it easy. Give me that lie. Give me that fakeness.
So you said that, most people are too lazy to do their own research. Do you think this is going to open up a whole nother can of worms? Like, I feel like even some of the conspiracy stuff that you see on, TikTok or Instagram Reels and stuff like that, it's like Mick conspiracy, it's like the drive through of,
yes, exactly.
So it's like, I think that's kind of a poison itself, like, I think it should be more of a long form. You should have more information. You should do what you did and look at the studies and stuff like that, and research the authors, read the book, right.
It's an enemy, misinformation. Somebody could be manipulating the truth to get you suckered into some kind of believing system. You could say that about anything you live. You go research it yourself before you can call that about religion, Go learn about, like we were talking about Indiana Jones. He goes out there, right? He was looking for the stuff. He wanted to learn for himself. So if he doesn't want to share the secret, he risked his life to learn the truth. If you want to go risk your life to learn the truth and escape this matrix, then kudos to you. If you just want to be plugged in and be, because they say ignorance is bliss, right? You want to live your life close to it. Good for you too.
Team Indiana Jones, I see.
Yes.
I'm Team Suppressor.
He was unplugged. He was unplugged from the Matrix. He wanted to know the truth.
Rolando is anti-Indiana Jones. We've talked about that in previous episodes. So
yes.
That's all right. I was wondering how we were going to sneak Nazis into this episode, but
yeah,
we did it.
Well,
we the cocaine got snuck in without us having to talk about it.
We were talking about World War II and I got rid of those. And fluoride, I keep mentioning fluoride. It's in our drinking water. We need to stay away from fluoride.
Why do you need to stay away from fluoride? If you've been talking about this.
A small amount, yes, it's needed. It's great for teeth. When we did that discovery, and then there was the train fluoride this, fluoride that. Corporations and a lot of factories, one of the byproducts in the those chimney smoke pipes, I can't think of the names. A lot of that is fluoride.
Like the plume smoke that comes out of like the
the factories.
The factories.
Factories. Yeah. I could do the research right now. A lot of that stuff, like byproduct it's a type of fluoride. And then what do we do with it? We got all this fluoride. Well, let's push it to Congress. Since they just discovered that fluoride's good for you, well, we could get rid of it and dump it in the water and tell everybody it's good for you. And at the end of the day, it's only stealing other important minerals in your body and depositing them in places they shouldn't be, in a lot of glands. They call it calcification. That happens with a lot of the processed milk, calcification, all that extra calcium that is useless from that highly processed milk just gets deposited in calcifying joints, and it hurts. Calcification in our glands, the pituitary gland, stunning growth, and lowering testosterone, calcifying the pineal gland. You can say that in spiritually closing your third eye so you can't see the actual truth and matrix, and it keep you consuming your money. Levels of awareness. It's when you calcify organs and glands. That's happening. So for those who are enlightened or aware of this stuff, they sell products without fluoride. I have to believe the truth from what they're telling me. I haven't had the time to actually take this toothpaste and put it in a laboratory, see if there's no fluoride, and at least I'm making the intent to stay away from fluorinated toothpaste. So that's what I mean. You got to go do your research yourself. There's you got to take somebody else's word for it. Then you are being fooled. Then you're just also part of them. You plug into this matrix.
I think that's pretty.
Let me bring up another point. You were talking about the being excited with new discoveries, and then there's somebody who's going to benefit from it. the Radium Girls back in the 1930s, I think it is. You ever heard of the Radium Girls? You were saying the girls who were, you mentioned the girls putting out pinning and stress. What was the element?
The arsenic.
Arsenic. There's also, that reminded me of the Radium Girls. During the 30s, at the end of the Depression, at the beginning of the war, these girls, women needed to make money, jobs. So, all right, they need to consume. So their job was to paint glow-in-the-dark watches, and they used paint based on radium. And the best way for them at the time, they had this new discovery. Oh, this paint's going to glow in the dark. Let's paint these watches with radium. These girls were driving the paintbrush, licking it, sticking it in the radium paint to make that fine point. Over and over, every day, watch after watch, they got radium poisoning. Their bones started to become brittle. Their jaws started falling out. The corporation making money off these watches, they knew conspiracy starts. They hush everything. Let's extract as much as we can out of this radium paint before we have to stop it and get another waste money for another study developing some other way to continue doing this. So those poor girls, which is pawns of the matrix at the end of the day.
Very interesting stuff. All right, Ed. Well, any last ideas you'd like to spread with us? Any topics that interest you? Any thing you want us and the listeners to know here before we?
Yeah, give us some rabbit holes, Ed.
We are, if we're in the simulation stuff, if we're a biological simulation of another intelligent entity, another intelligent race, another intelligent human. There's such theories out there, right? The aliens were here in the past and they experimented with the biology, life here, and they came in and did a change, whether it was aliens or a higher entity or nature itself. We're still a test simulated in this Earth, and it's biologically based. For layer after layer after layer, we're making a digital one. And that digital one, who knows what they're going to do? A quantum one. AI is going to do a quantum simulation. It's just going to keep going and going. The best way to hack the system is being able to disconnect from the system, review your veil, remove that veil, and see things what they really are, because you're taking the time to research and study. Because there is no absolute truth. Everything that you've been told is somebody else's belief, somebody's lie. Make your own. Do your own research. All these conspiracies out there, all these history books out there. Do you really know? Is that really real? Did you go to Jerusalem and look at the sites? I mean, are you just gonna call it fake? Or you're just gonna take your Happy Meal and accept whatever the pharmaceuticals commercials are telling you? You know, whatever your government, whatever. No, research yourself, enlighten yourself, be aware, do a study, pick up a book, listen to Rolando and Mike.
Oh, shucks, man.
Deeper. The rabbit hole goes deep, 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 deep.
Well, you just saying and listen to us, that's a compliment coming from you, my friend. So, hey, man, thank you for being on the show today, Ed. Always a pleasure to talk to you, but it's on this format as well. It's just exciting to have you on, and we'll have to have you on again because
please,
very, very good stuff.
I like your show.
I like your style, man.
Sweet.
Yeah, I like your style. I always have, always will.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Too bad we didn't get to talk about Monkey Pig.
Oh, please have me back. We got a lot of biology to talk about.
Oh no!
Oh no! Let's talk about monkey. Let's talk about Monkey Pig real quick. Let's talk about Monkey Pig.
You saw monkey chicken.
No, I don't. He said so many like intelligent things, and now he's going to end with monkey. I'm sorry. I know it. I know you're a believer, but I am not. We'll have to save Monkey Pig for another day. But this is one of the hardest times
out there.
Those are the truths. Okay.
There's so
One
many
of the
truths.
hardest times I've ever laughed is your explanation for that, and it was a conspiracy cryptid, and I can't poo-poo on it because I do enjoy some cryptids, but your explanation had me rolling. It's when a monkey comes out of the woods and fucks a pig.
But it makes sense. Like,
Well, yeah, we'll have to maybe talk about hybrids.
Well, I mean, I can get behind it.
I mean, like, really, like, I thought it would be funny, like, oh, looky, comes out of the woods.
It was funny. I know you were joking around and stuff, but that was just like the way you always had a comedic timing to you. So I appreciate it, man.
Real quick with that, just on the news the other day, speaking of hybrids, they mentioned that there was a coy wolf spotted, which would be a coyote wolf hybrid, because they're saying coyote fucked a wolf or wolf fucked a coyote. But then a scientist went on there and clarified, like, no, this isn't a coyote fucking a wolf. What it actually is, it's a coyote Doberman. It was a coyote that fucked it. So it's like, oh, it's a coyote dog. So I mean, there's some jungle fever fucking. It's interspecies, Mike. I don't know. It's
no, but there's come on, man. It's
history. Mad scientists back in the day, they just inbreed animals. We do it with plants all the time. We do mutations.
Doctor, what is it? Was it Doctor? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into maybe the Minotaur and the Dr. Moreau and how much of it may be factual and monkey pig, and we'll talk about the origins of monkey pig.
I mean, we do it in a lab now. They did it just the old ways back in the day. Like,
yeah, cloning was discovered in the 90s that we know about, and it's been very hush hush. So,
there's so much behind it. We'll talk that some other day, sure.
That sounds great, man. Well, as always, guys, have a healthy distrust. And Rolando, last words.
Stay weird, everybody. Until you see a monkey pig, of course. And Ed.
Peace.
Anything you want to, if people want to interact with you, do you want to put out your anything there, or if you're like, no, don't interact with me?
I'm on social media. It's mostly like band-based rock and roll. It's like part of the job. Here, put a flyer on Facebook. So I mean, I'm available there, and Instagram too. Put a flyer on Instagram. I personally rather stay away from social media, but it's a good tool. It has its benefits.
So where they can find you on Instagram?
Facebook, and Instagram is the same. Very simple. I don't have a code word. It's just @Partita. @Partita in Facebook, @Partita in Instagram.
All right, my friend. And yeah, you can find us over at the Theory of Conspiracy on Instagram, and you can. I think we're going to do a link tree there, Orlando. Yeah, you've already done one for yourself, and you're liking it so far.
Yeah, everything's just sort of set up there. So, but yeah, we'll make sure it's set up on the Theory of Conspiracy as well. But all my stuff links to that. So yeah.
All right, sounds good, guys. Hey, well, thanks, Ed, again, and thanks, man, and thank you for listening, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.